When I first launched selling the couch, I didn't have a business background. No marketing classes, no MBA, no playbook on how to do any of this. In fact, I had never taken a business or marketing course in either undergrad or grad school. I was trained as a psychologist, not an entrepreneur. So, a lot of what I learned early on came from watching others, listening to what worked, listening to what failed, and then stepping into the arena myself and figuring out things as I went. One idea I heard early and often was this: if you want to build a successful business, you have to be everywhere. At the time, that advice felt almost unquestionable. So I did it. I got on Instagram. I built a Facebook group. I posted consistently. I showed up even when it didn't feel natural. That Facebook group eventually grew to almost 10,000 members. In fact, I had the privilege of being part of a super admins group run by the Facebook team itself. From the outside, it looked like momentum, influence, reach, and to be fair, it worked, at least in the ways that were easy to measure. But it came at a cost. I didn't fully see it at the time. Social media trained me to outsource my sense of progress. How many likes, how many comments, how many followers. I didn't notice it right away. Most of us don't. But over time, I felt something shift. My self worth started brushing up against performance metrics that had very little to do with the depth or the quality of my actual work. And a few years ago, I made a decision that surprised some people. I shut that Facebook group down, not because it failed, not because it wasn't active, but because it no longer felt aligned with how I wanted to work or live. More recently, after about 3 years of fairly consistent posting on LinkedIn, I started dialing that back too. Not dramatically and not with a big announcement, just quietly, because I started asking myself a different question. What would my business look like if I never posted on social media again? This isn't a declaration, it's an inquiry. I'm not anti social media. I'm not telling everyone or anyone what they should and shouldn't do. But I've noticed something in myself and in many quiet and relational builders. Social media creates the feeling of connection without often offering the substance of it. You can feel like you're in conversations with hundreds of thousands of people while still missing that slower, deeper relationships that actually sustain you. And for people like us, people who value depth, presence, and meaning, that mismatch can quietly drain time and energy. What I'm realizing is that I don't want my nervous system tethered to an algorithm. I don't want my sense of contribution tied to engagement metrics. I don't want my best thinking shaped by what performs instead of what's true. So I'm experimenting with a slower and a quieter model, less broadcasting, more building. Instead of chasing scale, I'm chasing and choosing proximity, playing golf with people I want to have real relationships with, having unhurried conversations, letting trust compound over time instead of growing to a specific follower count. I'm letting growth be relational, depth focused, and not performative. That means fewer posts, more intention, more space. There's been an interesting thing that surprised me with this in my early experiments. The business hasn't necessarily weakened, it's clarified. What I'm realizing is when you remove the pressure to be visible everywhere, you're forced to ask harder questions. Who am I actually building for? What work do I want to be known for 10 years from now? What pace allows me to stay present for my family, my community, and the seasons of life ahead? For me, stepping back from the attention economy isn't about disappearing. It's about choosing where my attention goes and what gets to shape my sense of enough. If this question resonates for you, especially if you're disillusioned with the noise, I explore these ideas here on this channel. I would love for you to subscribe, especially if you want to keep having these slower and more thoughtful conversations around building work that fits your life. And if you prefer something even quieter, I also write a twice a month letter called The Quiet Builder. They're short, grounded reflections for people designing sustainable, meaningful businesses and lives. You can find it over at sellingthecouch.com/quiet builder. However you choose to engage, my hope is simple: that your work supports your life, that your attention is treated like the finite resource that it is, and that you don't confuse virality and visibility with value.